welcome to Chronicles of Yarnia, the podcast for Montclair's local yarn store. I'm Amanda.
I'm Jen. Hello.
So, I'm Kathleen.
I'm Haley.
And we're coming to you with episode number 58.
If you're a new viewer, welcome. This is the Chronicles of Yarnia, a podcast all about knitting, crochet, yarn, a little spinning, a little weaving sometimes, a little embroidery. Basically all about the fiber arts. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thanks so much.
I want to edit this out.
She wants to be featured. She's been running around all day because we've
She's
been
very
packing
stressed out
for the college.
Yes. But we'll talk about that in whips.
That is a whip.
That is a whip.
Diana.
All right, put her on the floor.
Yeah.
Do you want to put her inside? Oh, do you want to put her inside? Or?
She was chilling.
All right.
Okay.
And coming to you today from Yarnia. Yeah, Kathleen and Jen are traveling, but I'm here in town, so I'm by myself in the store. Let's see. Just a little bit of like where we've been, what's been going on in town. Summer is wrapping up, so we have this week, which the podcast will come out at the end of this week, next week, and then it's the first week of school. Our school starts at different times for different schools. The big kids start earlier in the week, or the high schooler starts earlier in the week, and then the elementary schoolers start on Friday and just have like an easy transition in with one day that first week. But I am certainly looking forward to having a more normal schedule, and hopefully really normal this year, right? Hopefully really normal, with kids back in school and activities happening again. I'm so thrilled. Eric, who's my 7-year-old, got to take a little mini summertime swim class at the YMCA for about 3 weeks, 2 days a week for 3 weeks, which was great because, it's been a year and a half and he wasn't a very strong swimmer to begin with. And, while I don't expect my kids to be on the swim team or anything, it's a really good skill to have, and the YMCA is a great place to learn how to swim. So, he got to do that. Abby is back from camp. My older girls my high schooler is back from summer camp. My college kids are gone back to school. And I know that's where Kathleen and Haley are today too, as Haley's going back to school as well. It's that time of year. Yay, school time. Yeah, and I was talking to my husband last night. I really like fall, not just because it's sweater weather, and I love sweater weather. I like the weather in the summertime too. I just like routine and order. Yeah, I don't know if I always liked it when I was younger, but I certainly have since I've had kids, which I had kids when I was younger. So, I don't know if that rule has ever held for me. When you have someone else besides yourself to pay attention to during the summer, you appreciate the order of school. How's that?
There's a reason that we're trying to be quick today, and we'll tell you about that in whips. But first, as always, we're going to tell you about some of our finished objects. So, I am wearing my favorite finished object of this episode. Thank you.
Yay.
So, this is the Ranunculus Sweater.
It's so pretty.
By Midori Hirose.
It's fabulous.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy with it. I made it in Juniper Moon Zoe in the honeybee color. And this color has been discontinued, but there is, of course, there is a color that is almost exactly the same. It's called Goldenrod, I believe, that we still have quantities of in the store.
Good.
I think we probably have 20 colors of Zoe right now. But yeah, we sold a lot of Zoe this year, and for good reason. It's a beautiful yarn.
It's perfect for so many different projects.
Yeah.
I made the
What did you make with it again?
the pom-pom pattern.
Yes,
That was
the
in the
Cobra
window.
Q.
The Cobra Q.
Yeah, that's still in the window.
That was 3 colors of Zoe. That was really fun.
I had, it wasn't, I don't know if it was quite a dream or if it was just something I was thinking about when I woke up the other morning, but I was thinking, it's getting to be the end of August and we should change our windows soon for September for the fall, and have a great idea for what we're going to do for our windows for September for autumny stuff.
I don't know what it is, so it's a surprise
Yeah,
for me
that's
too.
to come. But it's one of those things. I didn't write it down yet, but it's good for me to talk about it because then I probably will remember it. In fact, I'm going to make a note right now.
Down now. Yeah, usually when something's like that in my head and I say it, then it's gone forever. Like sometimes I say it to remind myself, but then it's like out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a finished object you would like to show while I'm making this note?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Wow, we really do have lots of outdoor noises for you today.
Yes.
Enjoy them. We're now a nature documentary channel. So here we have the Summer Carolina cardigan. I'll try it on for you.
Haley is not 100% happy with this project.
Well, you'll see the fit and understand.
And it still hasn't been blocked. And
so
actually,
I have hope.
The reason it hasn't been blocked yet is because actually we had Tropical Storm Henri passing through here the last couple of days. In fact, the showers that we're having are still part of the tail end of it. So it was way too wet to block cotton.
It would not have dried, so we wanted to show you before.
It would be a soggy wet sweater as opposed to
I would not want to try
a dry unblocked sweater.
So, here we are.
Yeah, it's still a little short.
It looks like
It's a bolero.
It looks like I went through the dryer.
So I'm going to take measurements on it, block it, and try to block it bigger. Try to block it longer and a little bit more width on the whole thing.
And I did crop it. The pattern is Carolina Cardigan by COSMAUDI. COSMAUDI on Instagram and Etsy. And
it's a much longer...
I love the pattern. I just shortened it because... Oh, my bad.
Sorry, no, my bad. At least it's a pink pen.
It's a pink pen. I love the pattern, but the first try, I went with it. The back panel was just... It dragged on forever. And
so it took her more than a whole night, in other words.
I just it didn't excite, like I didn't want to pick up the project because it was like annoying. So I took that out and went down multiple hook sizes and shortened it, but I might have probably been better off not shortening it as much.
Yeah, I think that's the...
But the sleeves are really nice.
The sleeves are beautiful.
And I like the button band. So the buttons that we got for it, both of us were upstate in...
We went to Rhinebeck last weekend, actually,
and like
for
we
a long
went around
weekend.
to Kingston and what's the other one?
Red Hook.
And Red Hook, and like around that area.
It was
explore.
a very eventful trip, not necessarily in a good way.
If we can throw in the picture of the car and you'll see. And Jean's text, we must have stepped on a genome fairy.
Genome fairy.
You'll see the context, hopefully. We always say that. We always say like, we'll throw in a picture, and I always forget to send it, but I hope I will
make a note. Car pic.
So we got these buttons at the AL Stickle, that's what it's called?
Yep.
General
Five
store?
and Dime.
5 and Dime. And it's perfect because it's just what I was looking for, and we're in the middle of like, or did we get any button distributors?
We did, yeah.
But yeah, so we didn't have the perfect ones that I wanted, so we wanted to stop by at another craft store.
Yeah.
And I like them. So yeah, so it's like nearly finished.
Yeah, it's a pretty much of a finished object.
It's wearable, so that counts as finished to me.
Yeah, definitely.
So I have another really quick finished object.
Sure.
That's like kind of novelty.
Oh yes,
so,
this is so fun.
I'll start with Brogan. So so this is a decor piece for the wall, and there's no outlet for me to plug it in. I guess I'll take a picture of it plugged in and stuff.
Yeah.
But it is lights. It's not yarn. And this is a Tunisian hook, but we just like grabbed something from the pile in our craft room to string it on. And so Brogan from Woolly Witchcraft podcast,
which is one of my favorite new podcasts. I love her so much.
And she's so sweet, and she just started knitting like a year ago or something. Like,
yeah,
she's crazy.
Yeah. Well, she's Scottish and she did learn to knit as a child, but she really got into it about a year ago.
Yeah. And
or even actually a little bit less.
So one of her thumbnails, well,
it's her opening basically.
Yeah,
it's part of her titles. Go
it's like
over.
a little knit fairy light thing with like on the wall and with knitting needles. So I did knit one at first, but it didn't work out. So this is the final product that you are seeing in front of you. It is I ended up hand crocheting it But yeah, it's gonna be on my wall
and
in my dorm.
We had this extra long Tunisian crochet hook just hanging around because
I said that already.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I was making my notes. I was not paying attention.
Yes. So here we are.
So, but I love it. So that's Haley's take on
pictures in action.
Yes.
But yeah, so inspired by her.
I made an asterisk actually.
Shoot, I never pulled out my paintings that I wanted to put on my wall. Packing. Anyway.
Yeah, that's the
a
main whip. We're still packing, even though it's 1:20. All we have to do is get to the hotel today.
Yeah, that's why we planned it this way.
Yeah.
Move-in is tomorrow.
Yeah, move-in is tomorrow. We're getting there today.
And why I'm not going to school in another country now. So we can do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
But also Tropical Storm Henri is still hitting Connecticut and Massachusetts.
Yeah, so we're driving
now,
into it. It was sunnier here earlier today in New Jersey, and now it's raining again.
It's just that kind of day.
Yeah.
It's pretty rainy.
It's all good though.
Pretty rainy.
Hopefully you get the ambiance.
All right, so those are your 2 finished objects.
Yeah.
I made good notes before we started, and actually I have a new technique. When I put a star next to it, that means we're supposed to send a picture.
Because yeah, we always like,
so
like, we'll send a picture, and
if
then
we know what the show notes are, then.
Yes.
All right, so my second finished object, and this was made last weekend in Rhinebeck. It is a fossil from Animal Crossing.
Fossil.
And I made it for my husband Gene, who also plays Animal Crossing. And when we showed it to him, he's like, "Oh, that's nice." He did not realize it was the fossil.
Didn't recognize it.
It's
like,
just so interesting.
It's a purple circle.
I think it's because we're crafters and like we
visualize
detail.
Things in like other mediums.
Yeah, exactly.
Media.
I think that's what it is. Like ever since I've seen that fossil, I think it's so darn cute.
It is.
And I've thought that would be a really fun thing to do as a paperweight.
Yeah, so it is a paperweight. So since we were in Kingston, we had a little memento, like Kingston rock in there from the ground that we.
Yeah, we went to the little beach in Kingston, even though it was pouring that day.
Yeah, we could not see the bridge, and we were like, right there. That was the closest thing.
We had 3 excellent meals. That was the highlight of our trip. We had 3 excellent dinners. Do we want to say where we went? We went to Terrapin the first night.
Terrapin was fun.
Which I've been to before.
Their watermelon gazpacho, I would eat that every day.
And I had the mushroom soup, which I think I had another time I was there. I do love cream of mushroom soup.
Yeah.
It was quite delicious.
It was good. Their soups were good.
And I had fish tacos.
The experience was
the ambiance.
good.
It was nice. We sat outside at all the places we went. And actually we were lucky in that it didn't really rain during any of our dinners.
The places where we were and the times we were, it worked out to eat outside, luckily.
Yeah. And then the second day we went to, I think it's Primo Pizza.
Did you get pizza?
Yeah, that was the second night. That was kind of off the beaten, well, it's not really off the beaten path, it's kind of off the main street, but it's not on the street, it's off this little courthoard. But I love pizza.
Oh, that was so good, and that was after our adventure of getting the car fixed that day. So
yeah,
that was
our little treat to ourselves to do something nice and chill for dinner.
No, it's like Posto. It's something.
Pasto pizza.
Yes, it's like
yes,
I think of it between pasta and pesto, but it's like a combination.
Yes, pasto pizza.
Yeah.
And that was
really
excellent.
Good. And
the
it was
waitress
like behind,
was
you wouldn't
super.
have seen it, but it was good.
But I Googled pizza near me, as
good.
I am wont to do.
And the waitress was really nice, and she was a knitter, so she recognized our socks. She was like, I love it.
She's like, oh, you guys are making socks. And then our third meal was actually a lunch, or like a late lunch that we had at the Beekman Arms. It was
mac and cheese.
It was some of the best mac and cheese we've ever had in our lives. Yes.
Another really good soup. It was a yellow tomato and corn cold soup.
Mm-hmm.
I
handmade
love
mozzarella sticks.
A like gazpacho style soup in the summer, especially.
Yep.
It's raining again.
Yeah.
Ambiance, but yes, the fossil.
So the fossil is the memento of our trip. This is a fossil pattern by Mon Ami Crochet. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. Actually, the Ravelry link takes you to her blog, I think. And there is another one. It's funny, since I've made this, there is another fossil pattern that I don't know why I didn't want to make that one originally, but it does look a little bit more like the actual fossil from Animal Crossing, so I'm probably going to make another one of these.
Yeah, and as our projects usually are, this was technically a collab. I made this star because when you were reading the pattern, you were like, you were skipping a step in the middle, and I was like, but you just have to do this step in the middle, and you were like, I can't do it. So I ended up, it was like 2 rounds. Yeah. So I did it.
It looks really nice.
It's
cute.
A great start. So it's a collab, just as the cardigan will be, because you will sew the buttons on and block it for me.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and
it's helpful to have a master crafter in the house.
Yes, man, crochet guru.
No, I'm talking about you for me.
But vice versa. When it's a crochet problem, this is who I go to. I taught her, but she has surpassed the teacher by far. It's true. Yes. Could you hold this for a moment? Then I have really what is technically a half finished object.
As per usual.
It is 1 sock, but I am really happy with this 1 sock. The pattern is String of Lights by Sock Witchery, who is Lindsay. Sure, you can bring it up. Lindsay on Ravelry and Instagram and all the places. Well, she's Sock Witchery, but her real name is Lindsay. And I met her during a Zoom, and she was a lot of fun. She's the Magic Loop Cabin Counselor in Summer Sock Camp, run by Kay the Crazy Sock Lady, which by the time this comes out is pretty much going to be wrapping up.
Yeah,
I have to post some socks.
Yes,
I haven't posted my socks.
That's a big responsibility, because I think by the end of it, there's going to be like maybe 10,000 finished socks.
I know, it's pretty crazy.
During the end Zoom, it was like 5,000 and then 6,000. Like, it's just, the numbers are crazy. How many socks are in the world now?
How many handmade socks? So I used Spun Right Round Classic Sock, my favorite sock yarn. I can confidently say that.
Gauge.
It really is, and it feels so good. And this is the Dive Bar colorway. And I decided to do contrasting heels and toes on this.
So well together.
It's not part of the pattern, but this yarn is Tosh Sock in Glazed Pecan, which was left over from another sock that I made, another pair of socks.
The Helen Stewart ones.
Yeah, and I just loved the way the color looked with Dive Bar. It brings out all those kind of autumny tones.
Yeah.
So I think this is my, when it's done, we're going to be my 10th pair of socks this year.
Double digits!
So crazy. So crazy.
To thank you, to not be a sock person.
I know,
For a while.
Oh, and wait till you see the whips.
The whips, it's always about sock whips.
And I did do the shadow wrap heel. I followed Earth Tones Girls tutorial, which was excellent. Really liked that. I watched it, and then I just kind of did it. I didn't even have to refer back, because she did such a great job.
One night after, I think it might have been, because we had like the day we went to Beekman.
We actually ate dinner early every night, which is so unlike us.
Like the first, it was just the timing and stuff, but like we were just like, let's just like knit inside, because everything was
happening.
There was just many
in the
events.
outside world.
And so we ended up knitting for like hours, just like watching YouTube, and so that was one of the videos.
Part of our goal.
That was the goal. The goal was to knit,
time.
but also to knit by water, which
never actually happened.
Didn't end up working out, but
between
we knit.
car problems and rain and all.
We knit.
We did knit a lot.
And this was the thing. So yeah, I love the earth tone. I love her, all of her videos and her sock aesthetic.
I like her style.
Perfect. And she's a really good teacher.
Yeah.
As you can see.
So if I weren't one of the partners of Yarnia, I would enter this in Sock Bingo.
Yes.
Because it's a single sock, and you can enter single socks in Sock Bingo.
It's a short row heel, which you haven't had.
That's true. I have to update my board.
I was gonna show you my board, but
you can do it next time. Because Sock Bingo also runs through the end of the year.
Well, that's the thing. I was gonna, like, my summer socks are kind of my default, and I want to see how many squares I have filled out with just like my like comfort
your
zone.
Regular old socks.
And then like for the second half of Sock Bingo, I'll be able to actually do the point of Sock Bingo and fill out other squares that are
learning new things that you haven't
breaking
tried
out
before.
of the comfort zone, because right now I'm in the comfort zone knowingly. So
choosing to be in the comfort zone, which is fine. That's a good thing. That can be a good thing.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying.
All right. So I think that is it for finished objects for us. So we will.
I have a half finished object too.
Do you want to show it now, or do you want to show it in whips?
Both of my socks are half finished, so I'll just show them in whips.
Show them in whips. All right.
See you in whips.
We will see you during whips.
You may be able to see my little one running around back there with an iPad, because why be outside on Cape Cod on a beautiful day when you can play video games? This is the summer. Anyway, I am on vacation right now. I'm back up at the Cape. Yeah. So I'm outside. I would face the other way. I would face the pond, but the lighting is weird. So rather than make life hard for Amanda, I figured I'd do it this way. And you can kind of see the reflection here. Anyway, so let's see. What have I finished objects. I do have a finished object, but it's a pair of socks and it's at home because I forgot to bring them. So I'll show them at on the next podcast. In the meantime, do I have any other finished objects? I do, actually. Sorry. I'm totally out of it. I have my socks in a Tupperware because it was the easiest way to carry them around. So I have worked through, I cannot remember where we were last podcast with the sock project. I know I had done all of the flap heels, right? So I had done the round French heel with gussets, the common heel, which is not a good fit. What is this one? The German heel and the French heel and the V heel or the handkerchief heel. And just as a reminder for anyone who hasn't come in on this, basically I've gone on a deep dive into heel studies. So something that I've totally made up. This one is a half handkerchief heel. And what I decided to do is after looking for a good afterthought heel, and honestly looking at some of the flap heels and some of the other heels for socks, is to basically test them out and do a shaped common heel. Do little studies. So each one of these is 64 stitches on my size zeros because I'm a loose knitter and therefore I do size zeros. 64 stitches, and I start with a 2x2 rib. Then I do 10 rows of 2x2 rib. I do 10 rows of stockinette. And in this case, this is in the flap section. I changed to this bluey teal yarn, which is really pretty. And I did the heel, and if there's a gusset, the gusset in the color yarn. And then I switched back to the white for 10 rows of stockinette, and then 10 rows of some form of 1x1 rib. So for all of the top-down heels, this is the 2x2 rib is your foot, is your leg. The 1x1 is your foot. So that is consistent across the entire thing. The 10 rows of rib, the 10 rows of stockinette, the 10 rows of stockinette, the 10 rows of rib is consistent across the entire thing. So after doing all of the flap heels, this is a Flegel heel. So this is the only one that really you can go either way, because you can do a Flegel toe up or top down. So if you wanted to test it out top down, you would have the 2x2 rib on the leg. If you wanted to test it toe up, you would have the 2x2 rib on the foot, because it's the same thing. And then after doing them, I blocked them. I tagged them all with a little note so you can see what that one is. This is a German strap band heel, which this was a kind of fun heel. So I have all of these, and in doing them, I realized there's 3 categories of them. There's kind of a band heel, there's a common heel, and there is a section of what I think everybody is probably used to is knit to a certain amount of stitches, turn and work back. And I'm going to was talking with Amanda and Kathleen, and I'm going to go into a deeper dive on this when I'm done with the heel study. And I will do a video and probably blog posts and stuff like that. And maybe it will turn into something else. I really appreciate everybody's comments about a book. That would be awesome. That would require me to write it though. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I was in publishing for a long time. I know what it takes. So I did all of the flap heels, and the flap heels are blue. And then I did the Afterthought heels. And I have 2 more Afterthought heels to work on that are somewhere in the house. So here is an Afterthought heel, roomier short row heel. So the way I did these is that I didn't actually do them all technically as a true Afterthought. I did them as a forethought heel. It is functionally the same thing. A forethought heel is where you knit in waste yarn and then you pull out the waste yarn later and pick up the stitches. So rather than snip the stitches and pick them up. Tomato, right? Half a dozen of one, 6 of the other, something like that. But the same concept where it was 10 rows of stockinette, 10 rows of stockinette after, 10 rows of rib before, 10 rows of rib after, and then working the heel. So the interesting thing with the Afterthought heels is that you can really, and with this, you can really see the depth difference. So if like a true Afterthought heel doesn't really float your boat or fit your foot, hint, it doesn't fit my foot, there's a whole realm of other ones that could, because you can see the difference. Like, look how shallow this is compared to this. Or let's get to the truest Afterthought heel, which is just like a wedge toe, which is very similar to this. So I have all of my Afterthoughts. And now I am working on short rows. So the short row, here's a straight up normal short row heel. And even if you look at this compared to this Afterthought heel, you can see how much bigger it is, the Afterthought heel, and how much smaller the short row heel. So if you've ever run into the problem where a short row heel doesn't fit your foot well, there you go. So for the short row heels, I am doing them all top down. Mostly because they can be reversed, and so the concept is pretty straightforward and the shape is pretty straightforward. But just for consistency's sake for the project, to make sure that my 2x2s are always on the leg side and my 1x1s are always on the foot side. But it's the same thing. You start the heel, change to the gray, and so some of these, this has a couple of boomerang rows that go around the whole thing. And then here's another one. It doesn't go around the instep at all, but it has a difference in depth. So I have a couple of those still working. But so those are my finished objects for the moment. Basically, this is what happens when I get bored and get interested in something. Deep dives all the way. In the meantime, I'm going to go to works in progress because these are my works in progress. I have a few. So this is what the Afterthought heel blank looks like before I do the Afterthought heel. So this is a forethought heel where I knit in waste yarn and then went back and knit those stitches again. And so in order to take them out, I'll probably pick up the stitches above and below and then pull out the blue yarn. So this is one of my ones in progress. This is going to be a Turkish thumb joint heel. So we'll see how that one works. This is an unblocked, just finished sweet tomato with 3 wedges over 60% of the stitches. So you can see what they look like before they're blocked. But this will give you an idea. This is the sweet tomato heel. So it's definitely a little deeper and a little rounder. Here's another Afterthought. This is going to be a star heel with a Kitchener finish. And for all of these, I'm using the West Yorkshire Spinner's Signature 4-ply, which is 75% wool, 25% nylon, and it has a good chunk of Blueface Leicester in it. It is fantastic yarn. I love this yarn. Huge fan. So we have it at the store. We have a bajillion colors because it's so pretty. So I have those. Now, the reason I started this project is because we just received our Erlbacher Gerhardt sock knitting machine, circular sock knitting machine. And so literally right before I left. So I did a quick, let's, see if I can learn this thing and crank out some tubes. So I took some deep stash. This yarn is seriously probably 10 years old. I have no idea how. I don't actually quite remember what yarn it is. But it's a self-striping fingering skein. So here's a tube that I cranked down on the Gerhardt. 64 stitches. This tube of stockinette took, with some troubleshooting, because it was like my third one, maybe 15, 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I got some knitted wick gumball, and I'm going to do Afterthought heels, Afterthought toes, Afterthought cuffs, and I'm going to make at least one pair of socks, maybe a pair of arm warmers as well out of this, by snipping a stitch and pulling it out and creating a heel. So I will have socks. What we are planning to do with the gear heart is, once we've, gotten really good at cranking tubes, is that you will be able to get a tube cranked for a fee. A relatively small fee, considering like it is a little bit labor intensive. It goes quick, but like there is some skill involved. And so you can either bring a skein of fingering weight, or you can purchase a skein of fingering weight from Yarnia and have it cranked into a tube. We will be doing classes in Afterthought heels and toes. It's pretty straightforward. It's super fun. And so you'll be able to do some quickie socks or arm warmers, because you can also do like an Afterthought thumb and just a cuff and a cuff. Super awesome. So get ready for Hanukkah and Christmas gifts, because that's going to save you some time. 100%. Okay, what else do I have? I still have more socks, because I put these aside a little while ago and then forgot about them. I have some lace socks in Mercury. They're the Mercury Socks. I don't know who that one is by, but Mercury lace socks on my double points fixation. It's a DK weight yarn. We may still have a little bit in the store. It's a great, like, heavier cotton, but elastic weight. So it's got this pretty lace pattern. So I've got to get my act together and finish this. So I am going to be working on that here, and it's top down sock pattern. And then the other thing I did is I started, this is literally all I have. How bad is this? I started a swatch. This will end up being a ranunculus in Zoe. After seeing all of Seisha's and Seisha's class students' ranunculi, and Kathleen's ranunculus, I was like, yeah, I need to make one. And I have some of the gray Zoe, which is Juniper Moon. It's cotton and linen, and I think it'd be a really comfortable sweater to wear. As you guys know, I like to wear sweaters over like my linen dresses, especially for like transition times for the fall. And so I'm hoping to crank out a ranunculus and then be able to wear it this fall. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's probably it. Hit me up with any questions about the heels or the Gear Heart sock knitting machine. It's pretty cool. It's very satisfying. And we need to come up with a name for the knitting machine. I will see if I can, for the next podcast, either we'll have pictures or we'll have it, depending on its location, whether it's still at my house and I'm still learning it, or if it's at the store and I have accomplished things. But it's sparkly orange. So we need a good name. So think of a name and throw it in the comments below, and we'll take a look. Okay, I hope everybody is having a great, safe week and doing well, and I will see you guys later. Bye!
Yeah, but also, this month, we've been continuing with Sock Bingo and having our vanilla sock knit along here at Yarnia. We don't have a lot of classes at Yarnia in the summertime, even in a normal year, because invariably if you have a 3-week class, nobody can make all 3 classes, right? You're traveling somewhere, something's going on, and so it's just really tough trying to manage around everybody's schedule. So we do private lessons in the summertime, as well as like one-on-ones, private lessons, maybe like little workshops and knit-alongs. So this summer, because we have our sock bingo, we've been doing a vanilla sock knit-along for those who are maybe haven't tried a sock before and want to jump in and participate in our sock bingo program. So let's see, we're really far along. Last week, August 16th, I have my little Black Pearl Magic Progress Keeper. That's where I got to 30 rows on the foot, maybe? 30 rows on the leg? Maybe so. At the time that I placed it, I remembered how many in multiples of 10 rows that was. It looks like 30. But anyway, yeah, we just on Monday, August 16th, had our both in-person and Zoom, so it didn't matter which way you prefer to join in. You can still join in and enjoy the knit-along live sessions. And, you know, turning a heel is a lot of stuff to do. Heel flap, this is a heel flap and gusset, so heel flap, heel turn, pick up for the gusset. There's a lot of things to do. So we also recorded the Zoom session, so if there's anything you forgot that I mentioned, you can always go back, listen to it again. You can listen to it on double speed, right? So it's like fast and you get to the part you're really interested in. But yeah, so I've been working on these. This is, let's see, this is the first, let's see, I don't know if I can put I can put one in this one, because it's further along. This is my first sock, and we're knitting along Helen Stewart's Simply Curious sock, which has a twisted rib, although you can always substitute one by one rib instead of the twisted rib if you like. Plain stockinette leg, heel flap and gusset with a slip stitch heel, and then plain stockinette foot and a rounded toe. We're not to the rounded toe yet. That is on Monday, August 30th. I said it wrong in my email. It is Monday, August 30th. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link down below. You're welcome to join the Zoom, even just for the last session. But yeah, so far this is as much as we've done. But I've got to teach how to do a rounded toe, so I'm going ahead and knitting the feet of my socks, and this one is ready to bind off the toe. So I finished the whole sock. I'm ready for the toe decreases, which really doesn't take that much time. It's like the top of a hat, right? You've been going around the full circumference and you start decreasing and it goes so fast. Ooh, my needles are stretching. But in any event, I'll show you this color, which is one of the Arnie and Carlos Le Fulton colorways that Regia makes in their 4-ply. So it looks like colorwork in Fire Isle, but it is not. It is just one skein of yarn, right? That changes colors as you go. Yay! Oh, not $14. I just have a tag in there. Yay! So that's how it looks in the skein, right? All these colors are there. You just knit, 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 plain, and it makes the design for you. I love these colors. I think they look like the traditional Scandinavian designs I really enjoy. So yeah, so that's a lot of fun. And this is one of the projects I've been working on while I was waiting for Eric at his swim class at the YMCA. I finished this whole foot. The other one, I've finished all the heel decreases, and I just need to knit the foot, which is just straight zoom, zoom, zoom. I think I'm going to do a little video for the knit-along crew to show like how I know I'm done with the foot and ready to do some toe decreases. So how long should your foot be? I'll show you what I do if you sign up for the knit-along. If you don't, I might edit it nicely someday and put it on our channel down below, in our tips and techniques playlist down below on our channel. So that's one sock I've been working on, and it qualifies for Yarnia Sock Bingo. Yay! Do you have your board yet? Did you download it? If you didn't, there's a link below this video to download your board from shopyarnia.com. It's free, of course, and if you get a bingo, there's a prize. Kathleen showed the prize. I'll put another picture in here of the little stitch marker that our progress keeper that's only available to folks for free for filling out a row or for doing a row. So, you know, the rules are you have to get a row of bingo. That's how bingo works. And you need to finish 5 socks. So the pair that I just showed you of Helen Stewart's Simply Curious socks is 2 socks. So I only need 3 more. And in fact, I finished another one already too. If you remember in June, I had cast on and finished, or I was like halfway done with the first pair of the picnic blanket socks. And then I finished the second one. So I brought it today just to demonstrate, right? One sock I finished after June 1st, and this one counts for sock bingo. So I have 1 sock, and then the 2 socks in here that we just talked about. So that's 3 socks done, 2 to go, and I would qualify for bingo. So let's see, I've color-coded my bingo card. The ones, these are in the turquoise. And then the ones for the squares, the additional squares that these check off, I've colored in magenta because they're sort of like magenta colored. So yeah, so the ones that my picnic blanket qualify for is the free space, of course, cuff down, fingering weight, variegated or speckled yarn. This is the spun right round and magic ball, crystal ball, and crystal ball. DPNs, because I love DPNs. I knit them on DPNs. And heel flap and gusset, because this one has also slip stitch heel, flap, and gusset. Or heel turn, gusset. Right, and a lot of those would also, if I had knit these first, I would have checked them off in magenta, except for the variegated or speckled yarn. But the additional ones that these qualify for is plain vanilla sock. Yay, vanilla sock knit along, so you can definitely check off that square if you participate in the knit along. Twisted rib cuff and self-patterning yarn, right? Because we're making a cool pattern with this patterning yarn. Yeah, so I'm getting close to a bingo. I've started, and I showed you a couple weeks ago, the Camilla socks, which I'm working on too. They need a little bit more work. I'll try to get further on that sock, but that one checks off a ton of boxes. Yeah, that one checks off a ton. I still don't think just those are going to get a bingo, but we'll see. I never know how these bingos are going to show up until I actually check off my boxes. I'm not good at like visualizing. I'm not good at visualizing in chess my next moves either. That's a skill. But yay, so that's sock bingo. I hope you're playing along. We have like over 100 people playing along. A couple dozen have already gotten their stitch marker. You don't have to fill out the whole board to get a stitch marker. Just get 5 in a row and finish 5 socks, right? Not 5 pairs, 2 pairs plus 1. Or if you've got a lot of whips lying around, 5 second socks of the socks you've never knit second socks for. Yeah, so that's sock bingo. That's my progress there. I was going to give you an update on my dad's sweater for Christmas. I showed you my mom's last week. It's not that exciting yet. Because this is my, when I'm on conference calls project right now. which is great. I love it. It's, right now, it's a waistband. It's a waistband, but this is the waistband for Jared Flood's Cobblestone sweater, which I'm knitting for my dad for Christmas. I went into pretty lengthy detail about my yarn and gauge issues before, but I had wanted to knit him the Oshima for him pattern by Jared Flood, but he loved this yarn and the gauge was all wrong for this yarn. So I picked a sweater design that will fit the gauge. We shall see. I may try to figure out how to do the Oshima, or I may not. And I might just knit him the Cobblestone. Either way, I think we've determined that I'm definitely going to knit the sleeves top down instead of cuff up, which both of them are written for cuff up, and I would much rather knit the sleeves top down. So I will definitely modify the pattern to do that, however I figure out to do the body. But both of those sweaters have a plain, like from here all the way up to the underarms, right, or almost to the underarms, and then the pattern's just on the top. They're very similar that way. Oshima has a what do you call it, brioche pattern on the top, and Cobblestone has a garter yoke panel. It's a round yoke with garter texture. So both of them are texture on the top, plain on the bottom. I'm on the bottom part, so I don't have to make a decision yet. I'm just zooming around, knitting stockinette in the round, which is just knit, 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 knit. Yeah. The yarn that I'm using is Ella Rae Rustic Aran. Yep, I'm using the Ella Rae Rustic Aran, which is 75% wool and 25% silk. Looks rustic. The rustic look is because it has silk in it, like the nubbly silk, so it absolutely does not feel rustic at all. So if you like the look of rustic but don't like the feel of rustic, check out this yarn, because it feels like buttery. Literally it feels buttery, like has almost that creamy buttery texture, in, you know, what looks sort of rusticy, you know, nubbly. Here's a close-up of the fabric. It's looking a little bit redder on screen than it is. It's a little bit more bluey red in person, but it's a lovely color. Daddy likes it. I'm almost done with the first skein, so I wound up the second one this weekend. Abigail was at the store and she got to wind a skein, which is her goal of every time she comes to the store. All right, I have also, which I will take a picture of and put it in because I didn't bring it. I don't know why. But I'm working on a teddy bear sweater by PetiteKnit, but not teddy bear. I'm working on it for, here, I'll scoot this way so I can put it in here. I'm working on the teddy bear sweater for Charlie. So I've knit the teddy bear sweater 3 times this summer for 3 friends having babies. And I really like the pattern. It like has a good shape, but I didn't want to knit another one in brown because that's all I had done 3 times. So I actually pulled some cherished, some cherished DK to knit a sweater for Charlie. Let me get a skein of that. Yeah, so I am knitting him a sweater with this cherish and cherished, past tense ed, are 2 different yarns. Cherished is solid colors. Cherish is variegated. That's the only difference. Otherwise, the same base. So it's 100% acrylic. Super easy to wash. Like, I know I can throw this sweater in the wash it, dry it with all those other clothes, and it will be extremely low pill, right? Which means it's going to still look good when it gets to Teddy and it's his turn to wear it too. But I have not used self-patterning yarn in a long time. I'm using it now for my socks, really enjoying it, and I thought it would be really fun to do on a sweater too. So I'm going to show you a close-up here, which if I was holding the sweater I would show it close up, but I'm not. So I'll show you a close-up here of what it looks like and the way that this pattern changes, right, depending on the circumference of your garment. So most patterns that are written for king cole are written to be knitted flat and then seamed. That means you have a front, if it's a cardigan, you have a front side panel, right side, a left front side panel, back panel, and 2 arms, right? And then you seam up at the shoulders, on the sides, and then under the arms like that. So the interesting thing is the teddy bear sweater is a raglan in the round, no seaming, top down. So the pattern, which the label says will look like that, right? You can think of it like that is the pattern to expect when you have a narrow circumference like I do around the sleeves, right? You can see that pattern starting to show up on the sleeves. Or when you have a narrower flat piece, because you know you're only covering maybe 14 inches around or something like that. Either 14 inches flat one way or the other. But when I go all the way around, then I'm looking at like 22 inches all the way around, and the pattern changes, which I always think is cool for self-patterning yarn. But you know, instead of having wide solid colored bands, I have like maybe 1 or 2 rows of solid colored bands instead of having like 5 rows of the like fleece design. I have 1 or 2 rows of the little fleece design, which line up in some pretty cool ways. So this is, I mean, I have done no color management on this sweater at all. I just start at the top and knit it down, and the colors came out where they came out, and that's what I have. But yeah, so I don't know. I think if you want a sweater that it looks like extreme, like you have complete rows of color every single time, you can see, especially like right on the raglan, or at the top where the sweater is widest, right before you separate for sleeves, that's where the pattern gets the most stretched out and incomplete part. But I think otherwise it's really cute. I like the way that it turned out with just like the narrow bands of color. I think it's really cool. And then on the sleeves, they'll have a little bit different design because the circumference is different. You can see that emerging here too. So I'm enjoying it. I'm sure by next time we podcast, I'll have a finished sweater for Charlie, which will be just in time for fall. And I'll take pictures of it on him before then too, or after them, but before I post the podcast anyway. So yeah, so that's my project with the Cherish. That's a fall sweater for Charlie now, for Teddy in 2 years. That's why I'm knitting it the 3 to 4 size. That's the 3 to 4 size, is because, yeah, that way I get 2 boys wear out of it. All right, so my last project, which I'm super excited about, we have, this is the Molly Girl Gotta Catch 'Em All, very first month of a 12-month series. Every month Molly Girl's coming out with 5 new colors. I saw these in my personal email. I had to have a set. I know I'm going to be knitting on it for a year, which means you guys are going to want sets too, which indeed got snapped up the first day we had them out. And this is probably the last week that we will have the August or the July sets in a bundle, because the August, they come out at the end of a month. The August sets are going to be coming out, and as soon as the August sets come out, this one, if it's still around, gets broken up, and you can buy them as minis of the individual Kanto region starters for Pokemon. So if you're not familiar with Pokemon, video game, there's a whole story that goes with it. You start out in a little town, and Pokemon are like pets, sort of, that you walk around with your little pet and can battle other Pokemon players and their pets, right? But it's nice battling. Nobody dies. They only faint. And you can always heal them up again, and your Pokemon love you, and they have a good time. So these, I saw them. These are the beginning. So at the very beginning of the game, you get to pick which Pokemon you want, and you have 3 choices. This is Bulbasaur, Squirtle, or Charmander. Those are the choices for your first Pokemon. And in almost every game, your game is between a grass type, a water type, and a fire type. That's pretty standard. Now to get to 5 for the first month, she added in Eevee and Pikachu, because those are the starters for Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu, which is the like reboot of the Kanto region game for the younger set, the Pokemon players. Younger set, I say that, I enjoy it too. Okay, so this is a fingering weight set. Each one is 20 grams, right? 450 yards. Yeah, each one is 20 grams. I got same colors, but a decay set. And I am knitting a blanket for my boys, or girls too, but the boys are home. And my 9-year-old girl who's at home is not a Pokemon player. My 21-year-old girl is a Pokemon player. So I'm just knitting one blanket now. We'll see if I think with leftovers, I might do a granny stripe blanket. So we'll see. There might be 2 blankets I get out of this, because it's going to be 60 50 gram minis. That's a lot. But for now, squares. Now I'm doing Garter, or not Garter, stockinette mitered squares. And this is my first one, and it's blocked. This is Squirtle, so this is Squirtle's colors. It looks like Squirtle. I also finished Charmander. These take me about 2 hours to make. That's Charmander. I knit both of these yesterday. This one during work on conference calls. This one I did in the evening, not blocked yet, that's why. Now, you're probably saying, like, Amanda, you're going to have to seam all those together at the end. Why don't you just pick up and knit together? I think if I start a granny stripe blanket, that's what I'm going to do. But there's a Pokédex. That's your little record, like a scrapbook of all the Pokemon you ever caught, and each Pokemon has a number. Let's see, I think Squirtle is number 1. Let me check. Squirtle is actually not number 1. I thought he was. Bulbasaur is number 1. But this is my Pokédex, and you'll see the Pokemon are all in a specific order. It's been this specific order since the game started in the late 90s, right? Always starts with Bulbasaur as number 1, then Ivysaur, then Venusaur, then Charmander is right there, Charizard, Charmeleon, and Charizard is here, right? And then Squirtle. So what I'm thinking is that I want to do them in the order of the Pokemon, which is not the order that the dyer is sending them out. So if I want to do them in the order on my blanket so it looks like a Pokédex, right? I've got to knit the squares and then seam them together. That's okay. I don't mind seaming. I know a lot of folks don't like seaming. I don't mind at all. So I'm going to knit each square. This will be square number 7 if we have, because she's doing 60 Pokemon and there's 151 Pokemon in the Kanto region, so obviously we're not going to get them all, but we'll have 60 of them, and then at the end of the year I'll arrange them in the order of the Pokédex and seam them together. That is a lot of work for something very nerdy, but it makes me happy. So yeah, like I said, here's my Charmander one. I have Bulbasaur, Eevee and Pikachu all ready to go, and I'll knock these out this week before the next one comes out. Each of these squares, so to do these are stockinette, squares with a center double decrease. I'm not following any particular pattern, although if people want it, I can write it up. I cast on 71 stitches, so each side is 35 stitches with one center double decrease. And yeah, just knit till the end. Now, mitered squares for garter stitch are perfect squares because the garter stitch is a square stitch. The stockinette stitch, the V's, are not exactly square. They're more rectangle shaped if you went from corner to corner to corner to corner, which makes the squares, when you do the mitered square like this, a little not quite rectangle shaped, or not quite square shaped. But I blocked it to a square. I think it's okay. It tends to bias this way. So I might end up playing around with the direction that my squares are pointing when I put it together, right? I might not orient them all in the same way. I might have the points angling towards each other at the end. We'll see. Cross that bridge when we come to it. It's still going to look like a Pokédex. It's going to be great. So that's that project. Speaking of blankets, my very last thing to tell you about is I did finish the blanket for my grandmother, and I will also scoot over so I can put a picture of it here. I did finish the blanket for my grandmother, the Hooked on Sunshine blanket mashup of 3 different patterns that I did using Sugarbush Bold, and I gave it to her when we were in Alabama for a very brief trip last week. She loved it. She's got dementia, so she knows it's from me, and she did say they're very beautiful stitches. But what I think I like the most is she was feeling anxious when we were visiting with her because it wasn't in the place where she normally stays. She had to go to the dentist that day, and we actually met and helped my mom with her in the dentist office. So it was a good time to both help my mom and visit with my grandmother for a little bit and be useful and at the same time, right, and help out. So I brought the blanket with me, and she held it in her lap, and she was feeling the different textures of the stitches, which, like I mentioned last week, is really something that is therapeutic, that I didn't realize how therapeutic it is for folks with dementia to have textures to feel and different textures to enjoy. But yeah, so I think that's why I ended up putting, and I'll put a close-up here, some little bobble stitches around, towards the outside. So she does have variety in textures to feel, and the edge has a little picot border, so those are nice and fun to fiddle as well. So yeah, what I did was I used the Claire square from the Hooked on Sunshine, Hooked on Grannies pattern. And so that's the center, and I did the whole Claire square. Then I used the white sort of linen stitch section is from the Atlanticus blanket, which is what I did for Teddy when he was born. I made him a baby blanket Atlanticus. And then I wanted something with more texture, so I pulled out the Whatcha-ma-call-it pattern and did one pattern repeat of Whatcha-ma-call-it plus the picot border. And so that was the perfect size, and it used up exactly 5 skeins of Sugarbush Bold, which is what I had. I used the Fresh Snow and Avalon Aqua, I think, and Real Rose, maybe. But in any event, it's like fuchsia and icy teal blue and white, which are nice bold colors too, which even though she's like losing her vision a little bit, she can still enjoy those colors because they're nice and bold out of bold. And that yarn is wool, but also nice and sturdy and superwash. So the facility where she stays can put it in the wash, make sure it stays clean, and it's not going to felt or anything like that. I did, which I don't have a picture of here. Maybe I do. I'll just check. I think maybe I do. I'll put one in if I have it. I did embroider her name on it. Her name is Frances. So I embroidered her name on it too, so it's not going to get lost or mixed up with anybody else's stuff. And I did that in the car on the way to visit or to help take care of her at the dentist office. So that was a really lovely visit. I'm super glad I could finish that project and give it to her, and really glad to get to spend those, 45 minutes or an hour with my grandmother, which just feels like a really special gift after 2 years of not being able to see her. And to help out my mom as well.
So hi,
Welcome
it's
back.
Kathleen and Haley back with Works in Progress.
Socks, but not socks first.
So one of my works in progress that I talked about a few episodes ago, but I really actually, and what I've said with this actually is I always try to work on black yarn projects in the summer. What?
And it's almost the end of August.
I know. It's so bad. But I actually did pick this up and I made some progress on it. I had to sew my shoulders together.
Proud.
So I did that. I don't know how much of this you'll be able to see. This is my iPhone and I don't have a screen facing me right now. I'll take a picture of the lace so that you can see it. This sweater is called Devonshire. It's by Pam Powers. It was originally from Twist Collective from quite a few years ago. I just saw a mistake.
Oh no.
I missed some rows of the repeat. No one else is ever going to notice.
Some rows of the peat.
If you ever see me wearing this, you can point it out, and that's fine.
If it was what I think it was, it looks unintentional. So.
Yeah, it looks fine. So basically, this is knit in pieces. I did actually knit the body and the back and the front separately. But I really didn't feel like knitting the sleeves flat and then seaming them in. It's just
more steps to procrastinate.
Yeah,
doing.
yeah. And this is a pattern I made a number of years ago. I've worn this during a podcast.
It's like a mauvey, pinky maroon.
Yeah, it's
color.
it's actually Karen B's color. It's that kind of taupey kind of pinky taupey whatever. So I've made it before. I love it. It's really like such a wearable sweater. But it is written for DK, but I wanted to make it like now we have a yarn that would work for this, but at the time I decided to start it. I
forgot it was a different.
So I've adjusted it, but certainly I would say make it in a DK. Follow the pattern. It's a lot easier.
Make it easier for yourself.
But what I've decided to do is take the technique for contiguous sleeves used in Andy Satterlund's crop sweater for winter, which Amanda introduced us to. She made it a couple years ago, and then I made one for Haley like 18 months ago.
In a previous episode.
Yeah.
No, January 2020.
Yeah, a year and a half ago.
I guess.
Ish. 20 months ago. Whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter.
That long
Not that important. So I'm going to follow that technique. So what I'm going to do, and actually I may work on this in the car on the way to college, is count my stitches and then see how this compares with the instructions for the crop sweater for winter.
And do some
and
math.
Pick up, well, maybe not even have to do math, because if my stitch count matches one of her existing stitch counts in the pattern, I'm just going to follow that.
Let's hope pinkies.
And if not, I'll just say math. It's okay. I like math. Math is my thing. So one of my things.
Defer to you for all math.
For the mathy stuff.
Anytime I cast on a sock, I hand it over once I've counted 65, because I do 65 and like connect one over.
You do the extra one.
And I'm like, can you please
Can you double check my 65?
Because no matter how many times, especially after the decreases, I count it and I count it twice and I check it over, and it's 64 at the end of the decreases, and then in the next couple rows it's either 63 or 65, and I don't know what happens. It literally happens so often. It's the genome.
So that's why
it's the genome fairies.
It's good to have somebody check your count if you're not feeling confident with it. So this is my big whip. My hope is to be wearing this in our next episode. That's my hope. All I have to do is 2 sleeves. I'm doing them in place. I can,
and we have car
I'll build
knitting
them up to here. Yes, I'm going to have even more hours of car knitting because I'm not driving. Unless I'm
and you're
requested.
Going back.
Yeah, we're going both ways.
I'm being left. On purpose.
Dropped off.
On purpose. Well, to Anna, it's going to be, you forgot her.
Yeah, so we are actually, we'll talk about it later.
You'll hear. Stay tuned.
So yes, my hope is that the Devonshire is going to be finished by next episode because it's so much easier to knit black yarn in daylight. That is the reason that I keep thinking this is my summer knitting and then not working on it. But
so comment, what's the word?
Below?
No, well, yes, the location, but like comment encouraging.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Like, Kathleen, work on your sweater.
Yeah, if you have some suggestions for how I can truly make sure this is that I actually am done by the next episode. And we've talked about these before. This is one of the Go Knit bags.
One so much.
It's such a nice bag. It weighs nothing, which is one of the reasons that it's a great travel bag. Weighs nothing and it's super sturdy.
A blue one, because I am a blue lion.
That's right.
I'm not only which you will hear about. We keep referencing. It'll be. We'll talk about it because we can talk a lot.
All right.
Okay,
Jean's
my whip.
Waiting for us. We got to pack the car.
Sock. Half finished sock 1.
Well, finished sock 1.
Well, half finished object 1.
Started sock 2.
Sock. Leg. Number 2.
Yeah.
Cut off. This is in trekking from my stash long ago before Yarnia.
Probably Sticks and Stitches.
It is Sticks and Stitches. If you look at I made a project this morning.
Did you buy it yourself or did I give it to you? You might have bought it yourself.
I might have bought it myself. It's very me colors, especially
use the littlest yarn shopper.
Me colors.
9-year-old.
And my words. If you look at my project on Ravelry.
And on Ravelry, she is Haley Bunn.
Yeah, it's the worst picture of the yarn I've ever seen.
Oh, did you take that in the black background?
Stash picture.
Wow.
It's so funny. Yeah. So I just made a project to not forget to post this. Yeah, it's a terrible picture of the yarn. It's so funny. So.
And this is a plain vanilla sock, right?
Plain vanilla.
Your standard plain vanilla.
10 twisted rib. I think I did 45 leg rounds, maybe. A stockinette heel, which I like how it pulled. It's really cool. And one whip you'll see later, the Regia does the same thing. Because we don't have this yarn. This is old. And then foot until my pinky toe, and then decreases.
I like that you know you have all of it in terms of your foot. It's not.
I don't. I haven't ever actually counted because I do make my gusset a little bit longer because I do more plain rows in between the decreases at the beginning. So I don't actually know how many rows it is to my foot. I just measure it against my actual foot. It's my pinky. So
good to know.
Catch me measuring my socks in class this semester. So yeah, this is a plain vanilla, so I can work on it easy, and not have to think about anything
when you're talking with people or whatever.
School.
Good idea.
We'll see how much knitting I get. But my roommate watches Jeopardy as well, so there will be
as well as you do.
As well as we do.
It sounds like we were just talking about watching Jeopardy.
No, but I just mean yeah.
Yes.
We watch Jeopardy. Eliza watches Jeopardy. So there will be Jeopardy watching, which is knitting time.
Yes, definitely.
That's what I mean. And also Survivor watching and knitting club.
Yes, all those things. Lots of knitting opportunities.
So your sock whip next.
Yes, so one of my sock whips is my second sock of my Sock Witchery String of Lights. And what did I not say about it before? I do 16 rounds of twisted rib. That's generally what I like. Don't remember if the pattern calls for twisted rib or not. Yeah, and just onto that. So that's that one. This is also coming with me. And I'm still refining I love the way Haley does measures of socks by her feet. I need to get better about that because I think that this the pattern it's a Garter rib pattern. I actually was knitting a tad looser than I usually do with this yarn. Not so loose that they're loose fitting. I mean, the rib does also pull it in on your leg a bit.
Yeah.
But I knitted my usual number of rows for the foot and started doing my toe, and it was too long. So I just pulled back, and I have I don't know if you noticed on the other one, and I think I wrote it inside already, but it's, my toe was a little bit shorter. The contrast for the toe was a little bit shorter than it usually would be. So I need to get better about kind of knowing how to do the sock by my foot, or I need to get one of those handy sock rollers that we have at Yarnia, like Chronicles, which are really fun. So one of those two things will happen soon. So that's coming with me. Whoops. All right, why don't you talk about your next sock?
So this sock is a beauty. I'm obsessed with it.
So gorgeous.
If you remember long ago, I don't even know what episode.
Like in the spring, basically.
When we got it in, maybe like April or May.
Well, it was after Wool Walk, because it came during Wool Walk, so that was
May.
April. Yeah, so it was May, June. We had this idea
to do this spun right round mini set sock. Do you want to show yours too?
Mine is not here.
Okay.
That's the one I was kind of playing around with. It's in my Kitchener bag, and it's back into being a series of balls. Like, I never cut the yarn.
Yeah.
I think I know what I want to do now, but I haven't started on it.
It is a tube sock at the moment, because I don't know what I want to do with the heels right now, so I'll show you. Oh, and these sock blockers.
We now have at Yarnia.
I'm obsessed with them. I'm so excited.
I love them. And, you know, the thing that I'm really excited about using them for is truly when you want your socks to dry.
Yeah.
Because as much as I love the look of the knitting one, the wooden ones, the airflow through this, and also I love the hook. Like, I can hang this in my laundry area, and it's got the nice little hook, so it's got a place to hang from.
I love them so much.
Easy peasy.
And I love the look of them, honestly.
Yeah.
So here it is.
So
I love
beautiful.
It. I love it so much. So we split the
mini skein kit.
The mini skein kit into each 20-gram mini skein, right? They were 20.
Were they 20 or 40? Yeah, they were 20.
Each 20-gram mini skein. We split into 4 balls, and I do have pictures to insert.
Oh, good.
I wound so many. How many did I want? I wore
40 little balls
tiny,
of yarn.
5-gram.
Did you take a picture of them all together?
Not all together, but I have pictures of like the order when I started them. So here I am on the second one. So if you notice, I am doing them inverse from each other.
Yes.
So I'm almost at the toe.
That's amazing. And you faded the colors one into the other, right?
Yes. So initially I started doing the fade in different numbers instead of just a 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. I did like a 3, 2, 2, 1, 1, 1. But then I was like, you know what? I don't want to have to do that. So, or count.
So how did you do it? I haven't even asked you about this.
It's just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, the whole way down.
And how do you know when to fade your next color in, like to stop fading one and fade in the other?
I measured it and then I started eyeballing it. So it's between, I kind of did like 1.5 inches per color. So like you can see like the stripes. It's like kind of an inch, kind of an inch, kind of an inch, kind of an inch.
True.
And then it kind of blends more. And I did do longer towards the foot, towards the toe, I mean, because I wanted to make them longer socks. So I used all of the purple, of one of the purple, and actually of like the darkest color. And I did like finish the toe with the second ball. Like each sock was
each
10
sock had
mini
its
balls,
own
10 mini balls.
Or 5 grams and 5 grams. Oh, but 10 balls of
10
yarn.
actual balls.
Sorry.
And my pink is unmentionables. I got
so that was a
full
contrasting
shade.
color.
So it's a contrasting color, but it did kind of complete the gradient. So I'm using it as the first and last color.
Yes.
And so I did
I'll try to take a nice picture of that before we pack them.
I did go to a 8 stitch on each needle toe to increase the length as much as possible. So yeah, I love these.
Great.
And you can see my I kind of put it on the side to hide it a little bit, but you can see my seam where I changed the colors, and it was rough going, but it's better on this one. You can definitely see the improvement.
Practice.
See, look, this one hides a lot more. So there you go.
Yep. So
I'm proud of these.
They're
happy
beautiful.
with
They're
them.
so nice.
And doing them has made me have so many more ideas of how to do other ones. Like, I almost wish I used more of this skeins, because I still have this much left of the 5 gram minis. Mini wound balls. So
you'll have to.
I almost wish
maybe
I
you'll
made
do a muscle
longer.
bird. Maybe you'll do a muscle bird or something.
I do have plans to do a muscle bird. Sometime.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm going to use some of my sock scraps for, because you had the great idea of doing. Remember with my
Almost
scrappy
like
blanket,
making
like two. Like one side is going to be like more of the autumnal colors, and one side is going to be more of like the black and white and gray or something. We will
That
see.
was more your color idea, but yes.
But you said you could make 2 different.
So they could be almost
looks.
reversible.
Yeah, well, it is reversible. But you can make it look like 2 hats. Yeah. What I'm thinking about doing with my half of the minis, which I have been playing with right now, I'm thinking about waiting for our next shipment of Vanos to come in and getting a skin of the natural and then
doing
alternating.
micro stripes.
Yeah, doing micro stripes, because there was one picture that you sent me on Instagram that it must have been a fade set, or maybe it was just a yarn. It just may have been a gradient yarn, but it was a gradient yarn alternated with a natural, and I really like the look of that. Yeah, that was fun.
A split end.
Split end. I'm sure I have
Oh my god, I
one.
haven't picked my split ends in so long.
Let's not do it now.
I just saw it.
Sometimes I get to do the mom thing, right?
Okay, that's all my projects right now. Except for moving, which I can't show you.
Well, we could show a picture of all the bags. Well, those IKEA, what are they? Are they fractal bags or something? I don't know. They're those square cube bags, and they zip.
F or a K.
I think it's an F. I think it's so yes, we have many of them. We bought 10. I don't know how many we used, but there are at least 8 packed now, or 7.
Maybe 7.
Quite a few.
But yeah.
So my other current super easy sock whip is my Ba yarn. You already finished your Ba yarn sock, right?
It was Marley's sock. Yeah.
Right. That's right. It was Marley's sock.
Which I love the Ba yarn for socks. The colors are so nice to work with, and it's so like.
We often buy skeins of the same thing, and then either want to kind of do the same thing or do slightly different things. I am a loose knitter, as those of you who've watched us for a while will know. So normally I always knit my socks on zeros. And this is the Ba La Jolla is similar in feel to the Knitted Wit sock, which I love also.
It's slightly thinner than the Knitted Wit. It's not as beefy, but it is a
It's definitely a beefy sock yarn, or beefy fingering. So I started knitting this at my usual 64 stitches, and I could tell when I was about an inch into it that it was going to be way too big.
It was 5 inches wide, and like a sock width, like half of a sock when it's flat, should be 4 inches for a medium. Ease.
Yeah.
Like your foot width, if you stand on a piece of paper and outline your foot and measure it, it's generally 4 inches. So
well, for a medium, if you're doing a medium sock.
That's true. I'm totally generalizing everyone's sizes.
No, but actually, one thing that's kind of interesting when you measure it,
it's not actually that different.
But to get the negative ease, what you want to do is you knit the sock to fit the flat size, but then when you put it on your foot is not flat.
Right.
So you get the negative ease by using like the dimension of your foot.
You like measure the 2D outline, but then your foot is
2D. I think you said 2D. It's like 2D Birdie. 2D socks or 3D socks. So I was really happy with this one to just kind of pull back, and I just pulled back and got to the point where I had 56 stitches. So this is a small sock because the yarn is thicker, and it's going so fast.
And
it's really crazy.
It's toe up.
And I'm doing toe up, and I'm going to do a Flegel heel on this one. I have my Flegel instructions, my modified version of the Flegel instructions right here. So yeah, because Jen, that was one of her many sock heels that she.
I'm obsessed with those socks.
That she tested, and
oh man.
And she, suggested that I try on her little socklet that she made.
Socklet.
And I liked the fit of the Flegel better toe up than top down. It fit my foot a lot better when done in the toe up orientation. Yeah. So I'm trying it out for real on this. And the Flegel is very, it's just all based around however many stitches you're doing. So, so that's definitely kind of fun. All right, I have yet another sock thing, also
And
involving
this one
Jen.
is
This is so darn
exciting.
cool. So,
So here, just show it in the package.
yes, we mentioned at the end of our last podcast that we are getting an Erlbacher knitting machine to make sock tubes. So Jen, was the one who coordinated that. It came to her house. She's been playing with it, and she was having so much fun that she's like, Kathleen, buy me yarn, or bring me some yarn, and I'll make you a sock tube. And she's been practicing. So look at this. Look how giant a tube you can get. We should measure it and actually see. This is one of our new Regia yarns. It's the boho color, and I of course got the orangey color. And so these are going to be Afterthought Everything socks, because all I've got here is a tube, and I am trying currently.
It smells nice and sheepy. I love it.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm trying to decide between 3 colors of knitted wood gumballs right now. I've got Canopy, I've got Mighty Oak, and I've got Carnelian. And I have always loved the Carnelian. It's a red that I can actually wear. It's a very browny red, and I think I'm probably going to go with that. We'll see.
It's hard to decide. They all look good.
They all look good, but I'm getting a full length pair of socks out of this. Plus. I'm sure a shorty pair too.
Yeah,
So maybe I'll use one for one and one for the other. Yeah, it's a lot of fabric.
Awesome.
So that is really
so
exciting.
So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Because eventually, I don't know what time of, I don't know
the timing. Yeah.
Timeline.
But we will offer sock tube service.
It is so fun to watch. It's mesmerizing.
Yeah,
a picture of Hugo, one of Jen's cats, just staring at the crank.
Yep.
So funny.
So yeah. So I guess that's it from us.
Except for the moving lip, which we did sprinkle in here and there. But basically, if we weren't teasing you enough, I am moving to college. Yay!
We should do we'll do a little clip from there.
I'll show you the view, because apparently every room in my building has a view of the lake, one of the lakes. So that will be nice if it turns out that that's true, because I've learned that setting the expectations reasonable.
Too low?
Huh?
Reasonable to low?
Reasonable to low. It sounds negative saying set your expectations low, but really what the philosophy is setting them low so that no matter what it's just being prepared, and more realistic. But it's easy to
not
visualize.
imagining that everything is the best you could possibly
Exactly.
be.
It's you can't read one thing and then be like, oh my gosh, this is gonna happen, because as we've seen, things change. So
yes.
But yeah, I am excited.
Yeah.
And you will see content from the Mo home. So
yeah, in future podcasts.
Yeah.
All right. So
I
with
brought
that,
yarn.
Yes, she's bringing yarn. With that, we are going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the segment, and we'll look forward to watching Jen's and Amanda's when this goes live.
Yeah.
All right.
So that is all I have for the day. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. This is our probably... Do we have another summer episode, or are we going to be... I think our next recording date is the day after Labor Day, which means we're going to be in the fall. So fun fall things coming. Enjoy the rest of your summer for sure. Whether you're traveling or staying at home, think about what's one thing I want to do to crystallize this summer 2021, which has probably not been the best summer, but certainly not the worst summer. And yeah, make sure to get out and do it. Don't save it for another summer day, because there's not going to be another summer day. But yay, great to see you. Have a great couple of weeks, and see you next time. Bye. Who's so big? Give me that. Good baby. How's that big face? Teddy bear. Teddy bear.